Then Voyager 1 arrived in interstellar space, keeping Kepler discoveries coming, counting
chance with that instrument to actually measure the wind for the first time directly.
Voyager 1, the most distant human-made object from Earth, has spent over 4 decades drifting silently through interstellar space. Launched in 1977, this robotic emissary from our planet has faithfully transmitted back information from regions of the cosmos no other spacecraft has reached. Until recently, its journey had been a one-way voyage, its systems designed to listen, record, and transmit, not to converse. That all changed when Voyager 1 received what scientists are now calling an alarming reply from a nearby object in space. This wasn't a garbled reflection of its own signal or the random noise of a quiet universe. It was structured, it was directed, and it was unexpected. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. The event began with Voyager 1 transmitting routine telemetry data as part of its continued operations in interstellar space. Its instruments, although aging, still function with remarkable precision, collecting and relaying data about cosmic rays, magnetic fields, and the sparse interstellar medium. On this particular day, the Deep Space Network received not only Voyager's expected transmission, but also detected an anomalous return signal, one that seemed to mirror Voyager's original frequency, but modulated in a way that was impossible to attribute to any known natural phenomenon. At first, the assumption was interference. After all, even the vastness of space isn't immune to rare but explainable anomalies. But the signal didn't fade. Instead, it persisted. Analysts examined its characteristics. It was coherent, regular, and carried a form of modulation that did not match any Earth-originating signals. It appeared as if something, somewhere in the vicinity of Voyager 1, had not only heard the signal but responded intentionally. And it did so using the same carrier frequency and signal structure that Voyager had used to communicate with Earth, but slightly altered, as though it had been filtered through an entirely different technology, one that understood Voyager's language, but did not replicate it perfectly. What made this even more alarming was the fact that the signal was precisely timed. It followed Voyager's broadcast by a delay consistent with the estimated distance between the spacecraft and the responding source. This wasn't a coincidence of overlapping frequencies. It was a reply, a deliberate one. Scientists working on deep space communications were stunned. The idea of Voyager receiving any kind of response had long been relegated to the domain of science fiction, and yet here it was, evidence that something in interstellar space had not only detected Voyager's presence, but had taken action to respond. The reply wasn't just a single blip. It unfolded over hours in a sequence of pulses and modulations. Teams at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory recorded the event in detail, attempting to decode the information embedded in the transmission. It wasn't a language in any traditional sense. There were no words, no obvious symbols. But there was structure, repeating patterns, escalating waveforms, and transitions that suggested intention. Not random, not noise. Something created this. One of the most unsettling aspects of the response was its proximity. The reply seemed to originate from a location not far from Voyager itself, within a few 100,000 kilometers, perhaps even closer. In cosmic terms, that's practically touching. And yet, Voyager's cameras and instruments could not detect any object in visual range. No dust clouds, no asteroids, no known celestial body. Whatever had sent the signal was either extremely small, extremely stealthy, or simply operating beyond the current limits of Voyager's sensors. It introduced a possibility that few were ready to confront, an undetected presence in deep space. The implications of this are vast and unnerving. For decades, humanity has looked to the stars for signs of intelligent life. We've broadcasted messages, cataloged potential Earth-like planets, and scanned the skies with radio telescopes. Voyager 1 was never meant to return with a message. It was designed to carry one-way greetings on a golden record, a symbolic gesture of goodwill to the cosmos. But this response, unsolicited, unanticipated, suggests that we may not be as alone as we once thought. The scientific community found itself facing an unprecedented question: who or what had replied? The characteristics of the signal suggested technological sophistication, enough to not only detect and interpret Voyager's broadcast, but also to formulate a structured response. That in itself implies intelligence. Whether that intelligence is machine-based, biological, or something altogether different remains unknown. The idea of alien technology drifting through interstellar space was once the realm of speculative fiction. But if something is there, close to Voyager, it's no longer fiction. Speculation began immediately, both within academic circles and the public sphere. Some proposed the possibility of a probe or drone, an autonomous object launched by an extraterrestrial civilization, perhaps millennia ago, following its own quiet path through the galaxy. Others suggested the existence of naturally occurring phenomena we've yet to categorize, objects capable of interacting with electromagnetic signals in unexpected ways. But the consistency and pattern of the response pushed against those explanations. Nature is chaotic. This was too clean, too deliberate. One theory that gained traction was that the object may have been shadowing Voyager for some time, possibly since it exited the heliosphere and entered interstellar space. If that's the case, then it raises the troubling possibility that our own technology served as a beacon, not just to the stars, but to whatever may be lurking in the void beyond them. Perhaps Voyager's signal, traveling steadily outward for decades, attracted the attention of something we've never encountered before. Perhaps the silence of space has been more of a choice than an absence. More disturbingly, the signal wasn't benign. As scientists examined it further, they noted elements that suggested active probing, frequencies that swept across Voyager's communication bands as if testing them, mapping them. It wasn't merely a reply, it was an analysis. Something was studying the probe in return, not just acknowledging its presence, but dissecting its communication style, its structure. It hinted at a technological entity that was curious, perhaps cautious, or even assessing a potential threat. The question then arose, if something has responded to Voyager, what comes next? Was this a first greeting, a handshake across the void, or was it a warning? The timing, the structure, and the proximity all suggested a level of surveillance we've never before encountered, and it led many to wonder whether we'd crossed an invisible boundary, an area of space monitored by entities we've never known, who perhaps have their own rules about what enters and what leaves. The psychological impact of this discovery cannot be overstated. For generations, humans have speculated about contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, often envisioning grand encounters marked by visible ships, landings, or clear communication. But what if first contact is far more subtle, more enigmatic? A distant signal, a whisper in the darkness received by a spacecraft no longer even expected to function. What if the cosmos doesn't welcome intrusions with open arms, but instead watches silently and only responds when something truly alien like Voyager passes into its domain? Voyager 1's trajectory is not something we can easily alter. It will continue to drift outward, its power source slowly fading over the next few years. But the fact that it received a reply, so far from Earth, has introduced a chilling new dynamic. We are no longer the only ones broadcasting. Something else is listening. And now, we know it can speak back. The scientific protocols surrounding potential contact with extraterrestrial intelligence were never written for this scenario. There was no formal announcement, no grand declaration. The data is still being analyzed, its implications carefully weighed. But behind closed doors, researchers and engineers are working feverishly to interpret every bit of the anomalous reply, decoding patterns, modeling possible senders. The sense of urgency is palpable, not from fear necessarily, but from the weight of encountering the unknown. Some experts have warned that this event could redefine humanity's place in the cosmos. We've always seen ourselves as the lone thinkers in a vast, empty void. But if intelligence exists out there, watching, responding, it forces a reevaluation of everything from our cosmology to our philosophy. Are we being studied as we study insects, or are we being invited into a greater network of knowledge that spans the stars? Another unsettling possibility is that this reply was never meant for us at all. Perhaps the object near Voyager isn't aware of Earth or doesn't care. Perhaps it responded to Voyager the way a biologist taps a petri dish. In that case, what we received wasn't a message in the traditional sense, but an action, a reaction, one that could have meaning far beyond our ability to understand. It may not be a conversation, but an experiment, and we may be the subjects. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us? What are your thoughts on Voyager 1's alarming reply? Could it signal alien contact? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.